Shit, yeah! 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 Give a round of applause for Sam. That was totally one of those, like, I think you're cool, sweet, yeah. Yeah, awesome. My name is Ken Arkind, and I'm proud to be from Denver, Colorado.
Woo! We love Denver.
Yeah! Denver loves Minneapolis and St. Paul. One thing I will say about St. Paul and Minneapolis, though, whenever there's a poll for something, like, you know, most literate city, or best food, or healthy, or this or that, on the poll, in the top 10, no matter where we both place, you guys are always one spot above Denver. I'm like, fuck y'all. Except for two things. We often win, like, healthiest city, per se. But that's because the mountains are there and there's a bunch of freaks, and then also because we often win drunkest, which some people in the crowd now are like, you can go fuck yourself. You can always tell stuff by that. Speaking of getting drunk, the other night I made the mistake of drinking with Sam and Shane. That was stupid.
Oopsie.
The thing about that is that, like, in the elevation, right, you know, you get drunk faster, so I came down here, I'm like, I'm a god! And the next morning I'm like, no, I'm not! So what I'm basically saying is I puked in Neil Hilborn's bed. That's not true at all, actually. Oh. You guys are mean to your friend. Sweet. This is a poem. Thank you very much for letting me scream at you for a bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Water!
Our streets are mummified meadows. We walk atop the dead as though the soil's song is but the one we sing for it. Do not mistake the tickle of their outstretched hands for blades of grass. We have stolen stories hidden deep in the ground and replaced them with epitaphs posing as street signs. Our billboards hang like saviors, our God looking down his nose at the world below. Before Western civilization spread its discontent across the ocean, carrying enslavement between pointed teeth, the wind never carried a yoke. No eyes saw tree trunks in the form of dollars. We have built our homes on a story of theft so old it no longer feels like stealing, but tradition. Like a pair of hips so used to being shattered, they only believe in a forced moan. So how does your garden grow? Like a seed, planted in soil that was never meant to nourish it, stems growing tall as World Trade Centers, blocking out the sun. Mistaking the girth of our roots for entitlement, we shoplifted our way into a homeland. With every city, strip mall, tennis shoe, or tree stolen, everything consumed in the United States came at the cost of somebody else. Organic vegetables picked by migrant workers. Iraqi fossil fuels used to power your recycling plants. The federal government admits that 33% of the continental United States was never ceded by treaty and therefore is still held illegally. Denial is the thriftiest form of abuse. So how can you own something that outlives you? Shoes, trucks, tires, hammers, baby bottles, couches, forks, headlights, swing sets, bullets, a nation, a race of people, all have an expiration date longer than your lungs. Affordable air cannot make its way into a coffin. Our country is built upon the bodies of its previous possessions. But giving thanks to the elevation that their headstones now grant us by naming street signs after slaughtered tribes is like shining the shoes of a man you've already shot. As though our guilt is the only thing that we've ever really owned and we offer it to our victims as a consolation prize. Like we're trying to shackle the rising sun for fear of burning through Southwest art about people we keep too poor to afford it. Protest songs sold through a Starbucks record label or activism workshops sponsored by Coca-Cola. Is the message of this poem worth the stranger's back bent to mine the magnet, copper, and aluminum in the microphone it's being recited through? Does that make every poet that we use this microphone a hypocrite? Does that make every stanza read tonight a hate crime? Does that make this microphone a slave ship for our words? Salty wind blown through a rusted trumpet, cadence constructed along the curve of a whip. Have you ever mistaken a pair of Levi's for a limp body hanging from a metal tree limb? Do you sleep on a feather bed and nightmare of birds determined to avenge their murdered brethren? When American soil slips through your fingers, does it feel like a prisoner escaping? Does your chest feel like an earthquake in a biblical prophecy when you think of the words, Indian giver. Thank you.